Now move to our announcements and report section. Mayor, I believe you have a couple of proclamations and some special guests tonight.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate it. We are excited about Hoover Restaurant Week coming up July 23rd to showcase all the great restaurants we have in the city of Hoover. We have a proclamation tonight, but before our city attorney reads that proclamation, I'd like to invite those of you that are here, Vivian Mora, Lynn Ray, David Custard, Sandy Six, to please come up. Tyler Light, Tony Harrell Bass, Laura Cooper, Andy Tatum, and then David Cohen, Reggie Torber, Matt Roth, Zil Zavary, George McClooney, Comey Otison, Greg Bishop, Cody Burns, Vanessa Venegas, Mark Jamroz, and Mike Oakman. All of these folks have worked hard on getting to this point, and they are representing Hoover Restaurant Week, and so I would ask for our city attorney to please read the proclamation. And let me get the proclamation.
Whereas the Hoover restaurant industry is integral to the Hoover economy and quality of life, and whereas Hoover Restaurant Week is July 23rd through July 31st with over 40 participating Hoover restaurants, and whereas the strength of the Hoover restaurant industry is dependent on support from its customers, and whereas the Hoover restaurant industry is partners with both its hospitality and food industry and the Hoover community, and whereas the Hoover restaurant industry tirelessly provides for and supports their community and employees, and whereas the Hoover Restaurant Week includes an assortment of restaurant offerings from a diversity of small business owners and local franchisees, therefore be it resolved that the City of Hoover urges the Hoover community to support the second annual Hoover Restaurant Week, July 23rd through July 31st. And be it further resolved that the City of Hoover and its City Council are committed to the continued support of Hoover Restaurant Week and encourage all citizens to patronize Hoover restaurants and support their role in our community and contributions to our economy.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Council. Very appreciative. A year ago, we did a restaurant week. Unfortunately, it was curbside. So we're very excited that we're welcoming our customers, our guests, our friends into our restaurants this upcoming week. The restaurant industry here in Hoover is thriving. New restaurants opening, restaurants succeeding, restaurants flourishing. We're so excited about the offerings that we have in our city, and we're so excited that we're able to come together as an industry this upcoming week and present to you all a great product, something we're very, very happy about, some great Southern hospitality, and we're benefiting a worthy cause in Hoover Helps. So, Mayor, thank you very much for your support. Thank you, City Council.
Thank you, sir. Next, we would like to honor the Action Martial Arts students. What a great program. Teaches these young folks a lot of responsibility and discipline, and I'm sure a lot of other things, including self-defense. So we'd like to have Ansley Thomas, Samantha Renshaw, Lynn Malden, Hannah Malden, Jennifer Ordot, and from Vestavia, who do we have visiting from Vestavia? Brett Hopkins and Jake Canavesra, right? They're not, that's all right. Please come up. We'd like to read a proclamation honoring the martial arts students.
Whereas the American Taekwondo Association, ATA, martial arts programs have a strong focus on personal development and is an essential way to enhance the growth and personal development of students of all ages. And whereas Action Martial Arts opened its school in 2015, making a commitment to serving and empowering the community of Hoover and Vestavia Hills by teaching children and adults the confidence, leadership, and fitness skills that can only be achieved through martial arts. And whereas Action Martial Arts is part of the ATA, which is the largest martial arts organization in the world, and all of their instructors are nationally certified and trained through a council of higher-ranking instructors. And whereas students from Action Martial Arts competed in tournaments throughout the 2019 year to earn the ability to compete at districts, and whereas these students competed in the district championship tournament in Atlanta, Georgia on June 11th and 12th with others in their age, belt color, and gender, they competed to be the best in their division out of 7 southeastern states: Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Mississippi, North Carolina, and South Carolina. And whereas the team from Action Martial Arts brought back 14 gold, 7 silver, and 13 bronze medals, with 7 different students earning the title of district champ by winning their entire division. And whereas many of these students will now compete with others from all over the world to earn the title of world champion during the week of July 26th through August 1st in Phoenix, Arizona. Now, therefore, I, Frank V. Burcato, Mayor of Hoover, Alabama, do hereby recognize these student athletes for their hard work and dedication and congratulate them on their success and wish them the best of luck in all future endeavors.
They're not here yet. Okay, I'll put that off. A few guest recognitions, if I could, before we get started in our agenda. We're always very honored and privileged to have with us employees and directors of the Hoover Chamber of Commerce. They recently held elections of board members, and we're honored tonight to have 2 new board members in the chambers with us tonight. I'd like to recognize Mr. Tyler Light and Mr. Reggie Torbor. Congratulations to both of you gentlemen for being elected to the Chamber Board. We're honored to have you. We're also privileged tonight to have representatives from the Birmingham Swim League in attendance. And pardon me, I know you're probably trying to catch your breath from coming in, so we're to the point of the agenda where we'd like to welcome excuse me, you to the podium. We have tonight Miss Teresa Magnus from the Birmingham Swim League. She's joined by Carson Muir, and Suzanne Russell, I believe, is also perhaps making her way in. And they have a presentation they'd like to share tonight.
All right. This is my advancement?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So my name is Teresa Magnus Underwood. I've got a crowd in the audience here of my own kids and a lot of BSL swim team here. That hurt a little bit. Okay, so we're here to talk about Birmingham Swim League and our expansion plans. We hope to have a partner in the city of Hoover. For those of you who may not know us, BSL was founded in 1965 to provide year-round swimming instruction, training, and competition to young people and adults of all ages, and we strive to be a premier swim program. We are a 501c3. Since 2002, we've produced 24 Scholastic All-American athletes. We have national champions in USA Swimming, Junior Nationals, Futures, and Tier Pro Series competitions. We have produced over 200 Southeastern champions in more than 350 events. And every year we produce men and women who are NCAA athletes. In the audience tonight is Mason Matthias. He is just accepted a full ride at Auburn University on a swim scholarship. We also have a number of Southeastern champions in the audience. Stand up, please. Anybody who's won an event at Southeastern Championships? Come on, stand up. Southeastern champions. So, the summary of our proposal, BSL is looking to partner with Hoover to build or renovate an existing building into a competitive aquatic facility to be able to offer an expanded program to more swimmers of all ages. And what can we offer to Hoover? Well, Hoover will benefit from the revenue and recognition brought by BSL being able to host meets at USA Swimming, Alabama High School Athletic Association, U.S. Masters, and NCAA levels. Hoover will also benefit from the access to competitive swim programs, increased traffic to local businesses, and increased tax revenue from the hosted meets. We need to be able to build a stretch 50-meter pool with fiberglass bulkheads. This allows us to host a 50-meter event or two 25-yard meets, simultaneous meets, with open lanes for warm down, warm up. Birmingham does not have a pool with this capability. The Crossplex does not have this capability. For us to host a meet, we would have to go to Biloxi, Mississippi, or go to Huntsville, Alabama to host a meet of this size. The city of Mobile has proposed and approved a pool of this size, so that may be a third option for us in the future. What we really want is the ability to host these meets here in Hoover. What we would be able to do with the expanded pool access is increase the capacity for BSL swim team, improve the swim lesson program, create a U.S. Masters swim team, and create a homeschool swim team. We would also have expanded meet hosting capabilities for USA Swimming age group meets, high school competition, and NCAA competition. How much money can we earn for you? The city of Huntsville calculated a total economic impact of over $870,000 from a single meet that had 945 participants, just under 1,900 spectators, taking up 2,000 room nights. We just all attended a swim meet in Nashville this weekend where they had the same number of participants. In the past, BSL has been able to host meets with 700 to 900 participants from all over the Southeast region. So again, we want you to help us put a revenue-producing aquatic facility in a new building or in a current building that is empty. BSL will operate the facility and run an expanded competitive swimming program. BSL will host meets drawing swimmers from a 500-mile radius and producing revenue for Hoover in all segments of the economy. Do you have any questions? Do you want to hear about our great swims this weekend?
Yeah, did you bring home some hardware from Nashville?
We did bring home some hardware. Mason Matthias won six events. Five of 6 events in the Southeast region. And you're talking about fast swims. The meet we hosted in June produced Olympic trial qualifiers. We had 3 swimmers at our meet qualify for the Olympic trials. We produce NCAA swimmers in all divisions, and we can generate a lot of revenue for your city. And we heard you loud and clear. You might not want to build a new building. Well, we drove around town and we found all kinds of empty buildings that have wide spans, and we're ready to put a pool in one of your vacant buildings.
Ms. Magnus, thank you for the presentation. Outstanding job, at least setting the vision. The city of Hoover has really staked a flag in the sports tourism industry. I think that's clear by what we've done over the last 5 years with the Hoover Met Complex. We're seeing dividends pay off in numbers that we did not think possible 5 years ago when that was completed. We're always looking for other opportunities. In fact, as we discussed last week, Sports Facilities Management and Sports Facilities Advisory is a group who we partner with to look at many opportunities from all sports. And certainly this is something we'd be happy to converse with them about. And of course, as the mayor offered, to look at other facilities throughout the city if this were to be prioritized for a city project. But thank you. Any questions for Ms. Magnus from the members? Thank you, ma'am. We'll now move to our regular agenda and begin with item number 6 and the approval of minutes. I'll entertain a motion for approval of the minutes from July 6th.
Mr. President, I would move for approval of the minutes without reading.
Second. I have a motion and second for approval of the minutes. Any discussion from the members? Any discussion from the audience? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The motion carries. Item number 7 is resolution number 6499-21. Mr. Corley.
This resolution authorizes the issuance of a 050 retail beer off-premises only and 070 retail table wine off-premise only alcohol license to N.P. Patel, Inc., doing business as Tobacco Plus Plus Plus, located at 1845 Montgomery Highway.
Mr. President, I move for approval of resolution number 6499-21.
Second. We have a motion and a second. We did not have a work session last Thursday night, so if those in the audience would indulge us, we'll go into a little bit deeper conversation about these tonight since we did not have a work session. Ms. Dickerson, anything to add for this resolution?
The chief of police and the zoning director is not opposed to the request.
Very good. Any questions or comments from the members? Any questions or comments from the audience? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Ayes have it, and the motion carries. Madam Clerk, if you would please note in the minutes that Mr. Murphy was able to join us tonight. Item number 8, resolution number 6500-21. Mr. Corley.
This resolution authorizes Mayor Brocato to execute an agreement with Sutphen Corporation for the purchase of fire apparatus in substantially the form attached as Exhibit 1 to the resolution.
Mr. President, I move for approval of resolution number 6500-21.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Mr. Rice?
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. We are in a situation now with 11, soon to be 11 fire stations that we need to, engage in a planned replacement of at least one pumper vehicle per year to stay on an adequate cycle. We also found ourselves in a situation this year where two of our ladder trucks need to be replaced. We've looked at this over the last 10 months, a number of different configurations. What we have tonight for you is a purchase agreement. We're not spending any money tonight. We're just getting our name in the pipeline. These apparatus take approximately a year from the time that they're ordered to be delivered. And the reason that we're not bringing this in concert with the regular upcoming budget is that if we can act prior to the end of August, we have the opportunity to sidestep about $224,000 of additional cost. There is a substantial cost increase on each one of these pieces of equipment that would total $162,500 that we can realize those savings by going ahead and placing our order now. And then there's an additional 100% prepaid discount, depending on how we go about paying for these, of another $61,762. When we come with the budget, we're going to bring to you a number of different financing options and some recommendations there. The ladder trucks in particular are a little over $1 million a piece, so that's a substantial jolt to the fleet budget and the overall capital budget when those have to be replaced. And having two of them at one time is certainly not something we planned for. That's the result of some untoward maintenance costs that we've had to do on a couple of these very expensive pieces of apparatus. We're really thin on our reserves right now, and we need to put the fire department back on solid ground in terms of providing that level of service. So we're looking at ways to smooth the cash flow over probably a 7-year period on this total $2.6 million. So you'd be authorizing the purchase of the vehicles, and then we'll be talking about funding that purchase as part of the capital budget conversation.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Rice. Any questions or comments from Mr. Rice on this item? Any questions or comments from the public? We have a motion and a second for approval of the resolution. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Item number 9 is the resolution number 6501-21. Mr. Corley.
This resolution authorizes Mayor Brocato to execute an agreement with the Jefferson County Commission for a community grant program for funding at the senior center in substantially the form attached as Exhibit 1 to the resolution.
Mr. President, I move for approval of resolution number 6501-21.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Ms. Henson, I see you in the audience tonight. Anything to add to this item? Come on down and share with us a little bit. Are you prepared to do so?
I wasn't, but I'll be happy to.
Okay. I understand this is an annual agreement we've seen before, correct?
It is. We've done this prior to me, I guess in 2007 is when I started it. And every year, they have given us $10,000 to apply towards the operation of the senior center. And we use it towards the nutrition program, and that's been a fabulous program for our seniors.
Any of the members want to question why we would not want to take $10,000 from Jefferson County? Any members of the public wish to speak to this item? We have a motion and a second for approval. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Henson.
Thank you.
Item number 10 is resolution number 6502-21. Mr. Corley.
This resolution authorizes Mayor Brocato to execute an agreement with Live Design Group for a Performing Arts Center study.
Mr. President, I move for the approval of resolution number 6502-21.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Rice.
Thank you, Mr. President. We were making great headway in this regard, and then COVID got us, and we were very, very close to putting this agreement on a prior agenda, and then we prudently, I believe, suspended all capital purchasing for a period of time and kind of hoarded up our cash until we rode out that storm in the nation and the economy. The mayor has engaged in conversations. Mr. Posey has extended a tremendous amount of leadership in this regard, and President Lyda, I know you've been involved as well. This is a total of 3 different agreements, all of which, though, would come under the auspices of Live Design Group. So Live Design Group would be the lead design firm involved. Theater DNA of Los Angeles, California would provide technical design and capability analysis. And then Cost Plus is another firm that would come in and do some value engineering and cost estimation. The idea is to get a valid, costed feasibility study for a performing arts center for our community. This won't be a set of blueprints. This will be a conceptual design, some possible location analysis, the size that it would need to be, the capacity, the number of different front of the house, back of the house features, several different amenities, parking, all the things that would go into what could become a successful fine and performing arts center for the city of Hoover. And then we would bring that back to this body, and we would roll up our sleeves and do some final work and talk about how to pay for it.
Very good. Do you have anything to add?
Thank you, Mr. President. I would first like to thank everyone for this body for putting the funding in place. Before, when we were really on the bridge, we were probably 2 weeks away from greenlighting this and going, and then we had some tough decisions to make, and we shelved it. We didn't cut it. We shelved it, and we stayed where we were. The Arts Council, 2 members of which are here, Ms. Pearson and Ms. Fuller, are here tonight, representing the Arts Council, kept working, kept finding things to do, and finding ways to keep the ball rolling. And then we're finally here. And when we did meet with these groups, they were very, very impressive vendors. The gentleman out of Theater DNA out of Los Angeles, top notch, talking about the important things, lighting, sound, the things that make a theater great. And I'm just so excited to be here. I'm so excited to be moving forward with this and a vision that we really started talking about in 2016, seeing it start to come to life, and then finally putting that facility in the ground and having it available for our arts community to use and to bring new things to Hoover. So I'm excited about it and looking forward to voting on it and moving forward.
Mr. President, a note on the funding. Currently, there's $35,000 allocated to this, and there's probably a price increase not to exceed $5,000 at this point. Chief Bentley said since you bought the fire trucks, he'll write a personal check for $5,000 and he'll close the gap.
Thanks, Chief.
He didn't know that. No, we'll find $5,000. I was just waiting to see if he'd run out of the room. We'll find $5,000 in the city's budget, and we'll be able to execute this.
Very good. Any other questions or comments? Councilman Posey, thank you for your work on this. Any other questions or comments from the members? Any questions or comments from members of the public? Hearing and seeing none, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The motion carries. Item number 11 is resolution number 6503-21. Mr. Corley.
This resolution confirms the appointment of Jim Massengill, Lawrence Kadish, and William Kadish as directors of the Stadium Trace Village Improvement District.
Mr. President, I move for approval of resolution number 6503-21.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Mr. Corley or Ms. Dickerson?
This is to conform with state law and the terms of the improvement district that the council previously approved that gives the council the authority to ratify or confirm appointees of the board.
Very good. As the council will see in front of them, this adds Mr. Jim Massengill to that board, which I believe has some spots on it for 9 individuals. Board will currently be made up of the 3 you see in front of you. Any questions from the members on this item? Any questions or comments from the public? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Item number 12, resolution number 648421. Mr. Corley.
This resolution declares a weed and other vegetation nuisance at the addresses listed in the resolution and directs the abatement thereof pursuant to Alabama law.
Mr. President, I move for approval of resolution number 6484-21.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Mr. Mack, welcome back. With all the rain, we're in the height of growing season, so I know you're busy. Tell us about these 4 and any updates we've had since the first reading.
All right, this is second reading. Y'all vote tonight for abatement. These 4 properties were all posted and had letters sent to them. And the photos that you're seeing there are showing, taken today. And properties are all vacant. 425 Shades Avenue is actually a vacant lot. And a couple of those you probably recognize, the one on Camelot Circle and the one on Shades Avenue are both familiar. We've actually cut before, so.
This resolution requires a public hearing, so we will now open the public hearing and ask the council if they have any questions or comments about the properties you see before you. Hearing none, are there any members of the audience who would like to speak on any of the properties in question? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing. We have a motion and second for approval of the resolution. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Mack. We will now move to several first readings. No action to be taken tonight. However, we will hear these cases in detail and plan for a vote for most of them, I think, on August 2nd. We'll begin with ordinance number 21-2536. Mr. Corley.
This ordinance approves the final 10% of the city's fiscal year 2021 budget.
We'll now have a first reading and set a public hearing for resolution number 6495-21. Mr. Corley.
This resolution declares a weed and other vegetation nuisance at 613 Russet Crest Circle, Hoover, Alabama, and directs the abatement thereof under Alabama law.
Mr. Mack, this is, I assume, standard practice. This will be for abatement at the next meeting, should it not get cut before then?
Correct. This is just the first reading. As of today, it's still overgrown, and I'm not encouraged by what I'm seeing, so.
Very good. Item number 15 is resolution number 6491-21. We'll have a first reading for this. Mr. Corley.
This resolution grants a conditional use to allow for used automotive sales at 2970 Lorna Road as requested by Birmingham Luxury Motors, subject to the conditions listed in Exhibit 2 to the resolution.
Mr. Martin.
Good evening, Council. This item was presented and considered at the Planning Commission meeting in June for conditional use approval, 2970 Lorna Road, for a used automobile dealership. The property was initially used for an auto dealership, since taken a turn as an office building, and now we have a prospective buyer who's wanting to use it again for a used auto dealership. The conditions that were approved by the Planning Commission and thus recommended to this body include the following: that 1, all light fixtures on the site be cast downward below the horizontal plane. 2, the landscape plans be revised to the satisfaction of the city's landscape architect. 3, signage application for the site will be submitted separately, and all signage shall meet the requirements of the C2 district. Number 4, loading and unloading is preferred on site. However, if off-site loading and unloading is required, unloading and loading should occur on the Little Valley Road side rather than Lorna Road. And finally, number 5, notification system other than outdoor speakers should be implemented. Recommend notification via cell phone to customers.
I see Mr. John Beard in the audience. Mr. Beard is the current owner of the property. Is the applicant with us tonight? Very good, sir. Are there any questions or comments from the members, either for the applicant or Mr. Martin, about this item? I know the property was originally constructed as a car lot, correct? So we're coming
That's
full
correct.
circle.
That's correct.
To the original intended use. Any questions from members of the audience? Okay, we'll have a possible vote on this at the next meeting. Thank you, Mr. Martin.
Thank you.
Item number 16, Resolution 6492-21, Mr. Corley.
This resolution grants a conditional use to allow for indoor recreation as a billiard hall at 1901B Hoover Court, as requested by Janet Arledge, subject to the conditions listed in Exhibit 2 to the resolution.
Mr. Martin.
Yes, Mr. President, this application, again, for indoor recreation, a billiard hall, and there is a subsequent conditional use immediately following this on the case for alcohol sales on premise as a primary use. I will note that the applicant is here, should be here this evening. I think I see them. And they will be requesting an amendment to the conditions, but I shall go over those quickly with you. Planning Commission recommended approval of both this conditional use for the indoor recreation and the following conditional use for the alcohol sales for on-premise consumption, subject to the following conditions. Number one, the business shall not operate between the hours of 11 p.m. and 8 a.m. Sunday night through Friday morning, and 2 a.m. and 8 a.m. Friday night through Sunday morning. And number two, this conditional use application does not cover live entertainment. Any live entertainment on the site shall adhere to either our special events section of the zoning ordinance or require separate conditional use. And number three, no amplified sound on the site shall be detectable from adjacent residential properties. A note on this conditional use case, as I mentioned before, the applicant reached out and asked that the council consider altering the business hours. Instead of having to be closed from 11 p.m. to 8 a.m. Sunday night through Friday morning, they are asking the closing time to be moved to midnight through 8 a.m. And so if the applicant is here, Mr. President, I'd like to allow them to come and speak.
Very good. Please provide your name for the record. Welcome.
I'm Janet Arledge, and this is Josh Williams.
The reason we're asking for the extended time during the night is we do participate in APA, which is an amateur pool league, and typically the matches finish up around that time. We'll be ready to get out of there as soon as they're done, trust me.
We did approach the league operator for our area, and we asked him if we could maybe start a little bit earlier. And he said that he pretty much keeps it consistent across the board. And since we're competing with another pool hall in Hoover, we want to stay competitive.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes, Mr. President, thank you. It's good to see you all again. I think one thing is when people think pool halls, they tend to think like the movie Roadhouse, kind of a corner play, or kind of seedy thing. But this is actually a sports venue. I mean, these are competitions. So there was a lot of back and forth over the timeframes to make sure that the times of operation, we do have to be careful because that is pretty close to a residential area. But we made some adjustments to the time to make sure we have accommodated competitions. I personally I'm sure we'll take this up at the time of vote, but I don't have a problem modifying the time. We'll just have to make sure that that doesn't call for a second hearing or anything, does it? As long as we read that the first time with the adjustment?
Yes, but need to confirm whether advertising requirements are properly met, or if we need to re-advertise.
All right, so sometimes if we modify conditional use, it kicks it into more, you have to advertise that it's changed. It just depends on what it is. So we'll have an answer on that by the next meeting. But personally, I don't know what the other members think. If it's just an hour and it's accommodating competitions, and that's a big part of it. You're bringing people to Hoover and bringing a lot of dollars to Hoover. So, Mr. President, I don't have a problem with that.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Any other questions or comments for the applicant or Mr. Martin from the membership?
So, we're supposed to come before y'all August 2nd.
Yes, ma'am.
So that might be extended because of the asking for the additional hour.
Our attorney has agreed to examine the nature of the requested change, and it could be that that requires another first reading. We have entered that into the document tonight, so we don't have to do that. Is that an option?
Yes, if we amend this for purposes of the first reading tonight, that would satisfy that requirement. We would just need to confirm whether there's any additional notice or advertising time, which may delay the vote on the second reading.
Okay.
Depending on the time frame.
Very good. I think Councilman Shaw was amenable to adding that into the agreements. Any,
Yeah, we don't need to take any action on that, do we? We just,
No, I think it would be prudent to vote to amend the proposed resolution for the first reading to include those changes to the conditions.
okay, and we have to do that for both resolutions, correct? Since they both have the,
Correct.
okay, yeah, we'd have to.
And you can do that in one motion.
Okay, so can we go ahead and make that motion then?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. President, I would move that we amend resolution number 6492-21 and 6493-21 to, for the exhibit 2 and item number 1, we would change that to a 12 a.m. And 8 a.m. Sunday night.
Second.
we have a motion and a second for amendment of the conditional uses. Any questions from the members? Any questions from the audience? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. So, Ms. Harley, just to reiterate what we said, the council's done all we could do tonight. The attorney has agreed to ensure no other advertising requirements are needed.
Thank you.
And would y'all communicate with Ms. Arledge once that determination is made? And we hope to see you back here on August 2nd.
Oh, we will be here.
Very good. Thank you.
We've been waiting with bated breath.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 17, as we've said, is a close related item number 16, resolution number 6493-21. Mr. Corley.
This resolution grants conditional use to allow for prepackaged alcoholic beverages, beer, wine, and spirits at 1901B Hoover Court as requested by Janet Arledge, subject to the conditions listed in Exhibit 2 to the resolution, which conditions were amended by the previous motion.
Correct. Mr. Martin.
Yes, Mr. President, the only thing that I would add is that the applicant would need a revised conditional use approval for direct pour alcoholic beverages. This particular application covers prepackaged only. So just adding that for the record.
And Mr. President, I think that their intention was to eventually get that. I think this is just to get the business started for this conditional use. Yeah, and they will come at a later time for any other alcohol-related conditional use.
Very good. Any questions for Mr. Martin on this item? Ms. Arledge, I should have mentioned the flagpole in front of your building, you're probably aware, is the original flagpole that Mr. Hoover had installed. So we expect that flagpole to remain.
Yes, sir. We actually did it at half-mast on Memorial Day.
Very good. Thank you. We'll now move to item number 18, resolution number 6494-21. Mr. Corley.
This resolution grants a conditional use to allow for the Goldfish Swim School at 5549 Grove Boulevard, subject to the conditions listed in Exhibit 2 to the resolution.
Mr. Martin.
Yes, Mr. President, this conditional use application comes before you because, again, we are dealing with indoor recreation. In this particular case, it is a swim school for children. They are looking to locate in the unit just to the east of the Target big box retailer in the Grove development. We do have a couple of conditions that were placed on it. Planning Commission recommended in favor of approval with the following conditions. That one, any excavation to include blasting, which includes non-blasting or blasting-related excavation, is to be pre-approved by the city engineer, the building official, and fire marshal, and that they comply with all related requirements. And number two, comply with all pool safety requirements that might be imposed by the city codes and ordinances for indoor facilities. I'll note that this conditional use, along with the other cases we've heard tonight, as I presented in my commentary to the Planning Commission, is that the comp plan supports commercial redevelopment in all of these areas. I will also note for this particular case that I have had contact with the applicant last week. The developer is located in the Midwest, so he will be present at the second reading to answer any questions that the council or audience may have. Also, based on the geological report, the development team has ruled out blasting as an option for having the pool inserted into the ground. Also, according to the fire marshal, even if blasting were to be revived as a consideration, there's serious doubts that it would meet city specifications as prescribed in condition number 1, based on his knowledge of the project site.
Very good. Any questions for Mr. Martin on this item?
Mr. President, I would just ask, I know there was a lot of back and forth over this blasting issue. Are they still going to be able to do this project without blasting?
Yes, yes. The developer said that he's confident his team can go in, manually take out whatever earth is needed in order to create the depression for the pool. The pool will be 4 feet deep maximum, and he is confident that their team can do so without involving blasting.
I hope they can work it out, because that's a pretty, I know a lot of feedback of people wanting to have maybe we can turn some of these goldfish into sharks so they can come and swim with the Birmingham Swim League, but hopefully they can work all that out. So thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, sir. Any other questions? That brings us to the end of our regular agenda. Now I'll open it up to the membership for any comments they may have. I have a couple of quick comments. I'd like to commend the mayor, Mr. Rice, and Chief Bentley. You're probably aware that Hoover Fire Department sent 2 of our best and brightest firemen to Surfside, Florida to work alongside the first responders there. Captain Toby Rigsby and Lieutenant Jeff Harris returned this last week, having spent some time down there, and we're very grateful. Of all the talented individuals we have in the department, we certainly picked 2 that represented us incredibly well, and the council wishes to express our deepest appreciation for you guys making them available to do that. Also, I want to recognize Miss Melanie Posey Joseph. We have known her for a long time as Melanie Posey, but you'll notice that name is now Miss Posey Joseph. Mid-June, she and her new husband, Mr. Booker Joseph, exchanged nuptials, and we could not be more happy for you and your new marriage, so congratulations to you. Any questions or comments from the public tonight? All right, a quiet group. Thank you all for attending. We're adjourned.